2 weeks before my sister's wedding, my phone buzzed. I remember staring at the screen, thinking it was another vendor question, or maybe a last-minute favor. It wasn't. My mom had texted, "Please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. No insults. No anger. Just calm words that somehow hurt more than shouting ever could." Before I could even process it, I saw something else. My sister didn't call. She didn't explain. She liked the message. That tiny blue thumbs up told me everything I needed to know. So I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't defend myself. I replied with one sentence, quiet, polite, and final. What none of them realized was this. That message didn't just uninvite me from a wedding. It freed me from paying for it. And when my reply sank in, the celebration they planned for months started falling apart in minutes. My name is Ella, 28 years of age, from New York, but before I go any further, pause for a second and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from right now? I read every single one. And if you've ever been the sibling who was expected to give more, stay quiet, and keep the peace while everyone else took the credit, go ahead and subscribe. Because if you've lived through favoritism like that, this story is going to feel painfully familiar. At the time all this happened, I was in my late 20s, the responsible one. The sibling who showed up early, stayed late, and handled problems before anyone else even noticed them. In our family, I was the dependable one, the one who didn't complain, the one everyone assumed would understand. From the outside, we looked like the perfect family. Church every Sunday, smiles at family events, neighbors who praised my parents for raising such good children. But inside that picture-perfect image, there was a quiet hierarchy. My sister was the golden child, the one whose mistakes were called phases, the one whose wants were treated like needs. I wasn't ignored exactly, I was relied on, and for a long time, I confused that with love. From the outside, we looked close. Inside, everything revolved around her. The real turning point came when my sister announced her engagement. The room exploded. Tears. Applause. Phone calls to relatives. Everyone talked at once about colors, dates, venues, about her dream wedding. Almost immediately, I was pulled into the background role I knew too well. Not as a guest, not as a sibling, but as the problem solver. I became the emergency planner, the one finding vendors when prices changed. The emotional support, the one calming her down when stress took over. And quietly, without any big discussion, I became the backup wallet. My parents admitted they couldn't afford most of it. Just for a while, they said. Just until things balanced out. So I paid the venue deposit, covered decorations, handled vendors when payments were due. At family gatherings, people praised my parents for making it all happen. They praised my sister for her taste, her vision, her big day. No one mentioned me. I wasn't in the group chats about appreciation. I wasn't thanked in speeches. I wasn't even asked how I was managing it all. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't a guest. I wasn't family. I was the silent sponsor. As the wedding got closer, the stress in the house changed. It wasn't excitement anymore, it was pressure. And somehow, all of it landed on me. My sister's requests kept growing. Better decorations, a bigger venue, extra guests she forgot to mention. Every time I hesitated or asked a simple question, her tone shifted, like I was ruining something she was entitled to. And my mom always stepped in the same way. Don't stress her, it's her day. Those words became a shield around my sister and a weapon against me. If I asked about the budget, I was called negative. If I suggested limits, I was accused of being jealous. If I reminded them how much I had already paid, I was told I was making everything about money. So I stopped talking, I nodded, I paid. And in that silence, something clicked. I wasn't being included because I was loved. I wasn't being trusted because I mattered. That's when I realized I wasn't invited because I mattered. I was included because I paid. I stopped answering immediately. No more calls, no more texts. I didn't argue, I didn't beg. I just pulled back and watched. At first, it felt strange, like I was invisible. But then the text came. Please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. Calm, polite, cruel. And my sister? She didn't call. She didn't explain. She didn't even say anything at all. She just liked the message. That tiny blue thumbs up hit harder than any words could. For a moment, I just stared at my phone. And then I made my decision. If they wanted peace and drama-free, they would get it. But on my terms. That, hurt more than the message. And it made my choice simple. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I simply replied with one sentence. No, I will not be covering anything for this wedding anymore. And just like that, the calm facade of their perfect celebration started to crack. Vendors called. The florist. The caterer. The venue itself, threatening to cancel if deposits weren't secured. My phone buzzed nonstop. My parents were panicking, scrambling, trying to fix a problem they had ignored for months. Suddenly, they remembered me. Not the sibling who had been quietly there all along. Not the one they'd relied on for every little thing. Just me. Missed calls. Texts dripping with fake concern. Guilt trips and reminders of how family sticks together. And in that moment, it hit me. They didn't miss me. They missed my money. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't storm into the house. I didn't throw accusations. I simply laid out the facts. I paid for the venue. I covered the caterers. I handled decorations, vendors, and every unexpected cost. I gave my time, my energy, and every ounce of effort you needed to have this wedding. And in return, I was treated like an invisible guest. Ignored, dismissed, and unappreciated. I won't pay anymore. I won't be silent anymore. That ends here. My sister's face twisted in shock. You're being selfish, she spat. My parents' voices rose, trembling with panic and indignation. You're ruining the wedding. How could you do this? I stayed calm. I didn't flinch. I didn't raise my voice. I just said the words they couldn't argue with. I didn't ruin your wedding. I just stopped financing my own disrespect. And in that silence, the weight of truth sank deeper than any argument ever could. The wedding went on, but it wasn't the celebration they had imagined. Vendors pulled out, timelines shifted, and the perfect day they had planned was suddenly smaller, quieter, and noticeably lacking the polish I had once provided. Family relationships strained under the weight of unspoken truths. Conversations became stiff. Invitations stopped coming. Calls went unanswered. I took a step back. Low contact, no contact, whatever it took to protect my peace. For the first time, I put myself first. And in that choice, I found something I hadn't realized I'd been missing. Financial freedom. Emotional clarity. The calm knowledge that I no longer needed anyone's approval to matter. For the first time, I chose myself. And nothing collapsed except their illusion of control. Looking back, I see clearly how favoritism shapes a family. It creates entitlement in one child and quiet self-erasure in the other. It teaches lessons no parent intends, that love is conditional and that respect can be optional. Setting boundaries isn't punishment. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. Walking away from disrespect doesn't make you cruel, it makes you aware. Favoritism teaches one child entitlement and teaches the other self-erasure. I chose to stop erasing myself. And in that choice, I finally found freedom. If this story resonated with you, share it with someone who's always expected to stay quiet to keep the peace. And if you've ever been the sibling who gave more, sacrificed more, and felt invisible, you're not alone. But here's the question: if you were in my shoes, would you have walked away, or would you have stayed silent once again? Think about that. And make sure to subscribe, because the next story might just push the limits of family loyalty even further. Thanks for listening to my story.